New update. AITA for getting upset because my husband bought a female friend a sex toy. He asked what did I mean, so I told him I wanted a divorce. So me, 28-year-old, had been with my husband, 28-year-old, for about 3.5 years, married for 1 year. He always had a sexual sense of humor. But due to issues we had in the past, particularly when he would say how he thinks about cheating on me or thinks about leaving me to slut around, he got on medication and that hypersexual side of his had calmed down a lot. And due to these issues I had told him to stop talking sexually, in general not about having sex with each other, to one of his friends because he told me in the past that if I hadn't gotten together with him he would have tried dating her. So he has a coworker who's a married woman and apparently they started talking about sex toys and stuff, how apparently they both are filthy minded and make jokes about sex stuff like that. I normally wouldn't care, as long as it's friendly and not in a what I would do with you kind of way. So he got her as a secret Santa this year and he told me he got her a normal gift for the office, and a gift for at home. When I asked what he meant he told me he got her a large dildo, too big to use dildo as a gag gift, and started laughing. I said immediately, "You bought a dildo for another girl?" And he immediately stopped laughing and said, "What do you mean by that?" I tommed him, "You know how this looks, right?" He got really awkward and said he didn't think of it like that and that I know that was his sense of humor. I just said it felt way too intimate of a gift. Talking about it is one thing but giving her something like that is entirely different. He said he'll return it because he respects me. Then said that he's always had this kind of humor and that he even bought me a dildo in the past before we started dating, a too big to use dildo. I said that doesn't mean anything because he liked me back then too, he told me before. He got quiet and just kept repeating this sucks over and over. Am I being the asshole here? It just feels very boundary stepping, especially due to our past. But at the same time he did buy me one too in the past before we started dating, like years before. Update. So this is an update to my post from the other day. I hope I can post the update like this. I'm sorry if I do this wrong. I've never posted an update before but a couple people had asked. But this update will make a bit more sense if you read my previous AITA posts about my husband from months ago, but I'll try to summarize how our relationship was here to save you guys time. So my husband kept telling Mai that he doesn't care about this situation and that he hadn't thought about it since he canceled the sex toy order, so I decided to drop it as well. But reading a lot of your guys' concern in the comments really made me think and reflect on everything my husband had always been controlling, and if he did not like something that I did or wanted to do, like dye my hair, he will argue for hours, hyper-focus on how I use specific words, and get hooked on the proper way to use a word instead of actually listen to the argument. Throw around buzzwords like gaslighting and how I'm manipulative, but also downplay anything he's done and only focus on how I react to his actions. Well, I decided a while ago that I think I might want my lip pierced, but I'm worried I might not like his and it might scar up. So yesterday I ordered some fake sticky piercings to test out the look without committing. I told my husband about my order. He told me it's my body but he hates piercings and think they're really ugly and that he wants them nowhere near my beautiful skin. I told him I noted his feelings on this and will keep it in mind, but I'm not making a decision just yet on if I'm getting one or not. He did not like this at all. He said me saying that it noted his feelings means I don't give a shit and is just ignoring it. I told him no, I'm keeping it in mind, I'm just not making a decision just yet. Somehow this escalated very quickly. Because I was going out of my way to speak to him calmly, because if I get upset, raise my voice or anything, he'll hyper-focus on that instead of the argument. He started saying that it don't sound like myself, how I sound like my sister, who he hates, and his abusive mother. Because while he was talking I was responding like and okay. He said I was mocking him and that I don't care. I told him I'm just listening and I do care. It somehow got turned to that I was gaslighting him and only wanted him for his money. Not true, he has really bad money problems and I've had to help him out plenty of time, even recently as a couple weeks ago. He kept calling me a manipulator and was saying things like, "Don't you see it? We're done." After a while of this I started getting upset and said, "I'm genuinely trying to talk to you about this and you keep going off." My voice got a bit wobbly and he told me not to get emotional. So I told him I was done. This is exhausting and I cannot do this anymore. He asked what did I mean, so I told him I wanted a divorce. He immediately got upset, saying divorce wasn't even on his mind. He said I broke his heart again and it's not fair that I can do this and decide this. Then said I'm giving up because of one conversation I told him we were never going to work as a married couple, we're too different. One of us would have to sacrifice a lot for the other and that's not fair. He said fine, he's in no position to divorce me at the moment and asked if we can hold on until June. Saying we're going to go through with the divorce no matter what, but it's to get our finances together. Since he's in the military we share a bi-monthly check for housing, so that's what he's referring to. I went over to my best friend's place after and she wants to celebrate me finally leaving him. She's always hated him, and I understand why. So yeah. I guess it's finally happening and I'm not backing out this time. Thank you to everyone who took the time to read this, all your comments really help me. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. He's in the military and buying a dildo for a coworker? This man is abusive. He's verbally and emotionally abusive and now he's attempting to control you with financial issues. Get a lawyer. Start the proceedings to divorce him now. Don't let him control the timeline. Commenter 2. Do not let him control the divorce too. He's been controlling and making you miserable the entire time. For once, do not listen to this man. He absolutely does not have your best interests at heart. He can and will screw you over as punishment in the divorce. This is common tactics of abuse. Start the process now. Stop burning yourself just to keep him mild with you. Commenter 3. I'm proud of you. His manipulation efforts will not stop, so you need to be extra vigilant around him going forward. You need to hire an attorney. You can share the attorney, but only if you are the client and your husband doesn't hire one. Do not use the attorney that your husband retains. There is not a single attorney out there who will represent both parties, so you need to make sure you have one that's representing you and working with your best interests in mind. And you need a family law attorney who specializes in military divorces. They are different from civilian divorces. Story 2. AITA for refusing to pay my brother back for things that he said I could have? To cut a very long story short, I was raised by my grandma and believed she was my mother until I was 11, until I was 13 when social services got involved and felt she could no longer care for me properly and I was going to be placed with a foster family. My older brother, who's actually my uncle, had already moved out, gave me a few things before I left. These things were a PlayStation 2, a few games, an old electric guitar and amp, 2 pairs of jeans and a hoodie. My foster parents already owned an Xbox 360 and I also found a PS2 Slim and some more games by an elderly neighbor when I helped him clear out his attic and he said I could keep them. So I never really used the PS2 my brother gave me, and the first Christmas I was with my foster parents they bought me a new electric guitar and amp. Once I hit 14 my boobs went from an A cup to a double D in a year, so the hoodie didn't fit anymore, and when I was 15 my hips and ass came in too, so the jeans no longer fit either. My brother's stuff all got stored in the garage, but unfortunately they all got ruined during a flood. My foster parents showed me what a loving, caring family was really like and ended up adopting me when I was 16, and I now consider them my parents and I love them very much. However, a couple of years ago I decided I wanted to try to reconnect with my grandma, and we've now developed a more normal relationship, and she seemed genuinely remorseful over what happened and her lack of contact over the years. But I hadn't seen my brother until recently when he showed up whilst I was visiting. Initially it was really nice and we talked about how the past few years had been for the both of us, and I was happy until he said, "So can I have my stuff back now?" I asked what he meant and he said, "You know the stuff I gave you when you left? The PS2, the games, the clothes, my guitar?" I replied with, "Oh them, well you said I could have them, not borrow them, so I considered them to be gifts." He said, "Look, I only gave them to you because I felt sorry for you. Just give them back." I explained that everything had gotten damaged. He said, "Typical. You know, if you weren't such a fuck up you wouldn't have had to be put into care anyway. You can pay me back for all that stuff. That's like £600 you owe me." I laughed in his face and said, "No way am I paying you that much. If you really want the PS2 back that badly, I have a slim version you can have, even though I'd like to keep it, even though they were definitely gifts, but I'm not paying you a damn penny." He called me a fucking bitch and an asshole and then stormed out. My grandma said, "Don't worry about him, I'll make sure he won't be around you again." After he stormed out. I only work as a barista, and with the cost of living crisis I barely have enough money to pay for Christmas presents for everyone this year. £600 is literally unattainable for me, but I'm wondering, AITA? He never said he expected them back, but he never explicitly said they were gifts, only that I could have them. Story 3. AITA for kicking out my brother and his fiancée for freeloading and being disrespectful. So, here's my situation. I, 21-year-old, have had a complicated relationship with my brother, 28-year-old, for as long as I can remember. Growing up, he was always the golden child in my parents' eyes. He always looked down on me, telling me I wouldn't become anything of value. He would always do something reckless and would pin it on me and blame me. Meanwhile, my parents constantly bailed him out and gave him the benefit of the doubt and gave him whatever he wanted. He's lived in this fantasy world where he doesn't have to deal with the real world, and somehow, they always provided for him. Now, he's an adult and still doesn't know how to handle his finances. Every month, he blows his entire salary on useless crap like vapes, the latest iPhone, and his most recent purchase, a PS5. But somehow, He always seems to run out of money and then comes to me asking for gas money to get to work. The audacity is unreal. He also has the worst attitude. He throws tantrums over everything, like a 3-year-old. Seriously, he's 28, but acts like a spoiled child who thinks the world owes him everything. I'm the soft-natured one in the family, so I've always avoided confrontation and been a pushover. I have social anxiety, so confrontation leads me to panic attacks to the point I feel extremely sick. Because of that, he's always taken advantage of me, and it's gotten to the point where I just put up with it because I hate conflict. The reason he's even living with me in the first place is that he got kicked out of his apartment for failing to pay rent and his awful behavior. Shouting profanities at neighbors who annoy him and slamming and hitting objects in his apartment. My parents didn't want to take him in, so he came to me. Because of my inability to say no and family pressure, I let him stay because I felt bad, but he's completely taken over my space. He keeps all of his dishes in his room and never washes them. I've found old moldy food in his room, and just about every inch of his living space is a disaster. He doesn't do anything. He gets home from work, goes to his room, and shuts the door. Now, for the last few months, things have only gotten even worse. My brother met his fiancée, 18F, about 4 months ago. She's just finished school, and he didn't ask me if she could move in. He told me she was moving in. Apparently, she didn't have anywhere else to go, so I agreed, but let me tell you, she is a childish nightmare. She's constantly giggling, and having her teenage antics, and just being incredibly annoying in general. She's also obsessed with eating. I'm talking 6 full meals in one day, and she still comes to me, demanding dinner. She eats anything she sees in my kitchen like a vacuum cleaner and leaves nothing for anyone else. She also follows my brother's example, hoarding dishes and not cleaning up after themselves. I don't smoke at all, but my window pane by the back door is always full of cigarette stubs. They just refuse to clean after themselves. I pay for their smoking habit as well. The two of them together have completely disrespected my home. I hate to admit it, but I've let them get away with it for far too long because I couldn't bring myself to confront them. They leave dirty dishes everywhere, they don't clean up after themselves, and their hygiene is disgusting. They shower once every 3 weeks, neither brushing their teeth regularly. The smell in the house is unbearable, and it's driving me insane. But what really pushed me over the edge was when my brother, after all of this, had the audacity to say, "It's your responsibility to take care of me. And since brother's fiancé is my fiancé, it's your responsibility to take care of her too. We're family." That was it. I completely snapped. The years of bottled up emotions came out, and I berated them and said really mean things I wish I didn't in the heat of the moment. I finally gave them both eviction notices. I told them they had 5 days to pack up and leave, and when they asked what they'd done wrong, I laid it all out for them. They had the audacity to even ask if they did something wrong. I told them that they were freeloading, disrespectful, entitled, and disgusting, and that I was done enabling their behavior. Now, they're both angry, and I feel guilty for kicking them out, but I really feel like they've pushed me too far. And my family called me and told me that I was very disrespectful and that I should help my brother who is going through a difficult time. As always, they are choosing my brother's side. Am I the asshole for cutting my brother off and kicking them out when they have nowhere else to go? Story 4. I think my 29-year-old future mother-in-law, 63-year-old, may be trying to sabotage my relationship with my fiancé, 31-year-old. Long-time lurker, first-time advice seeker. Let's get down to business. I've been with my fiancé Adam for 5 years, and we've been engaged for 7 months. We have a beautiful home together, and we both work really hard at our relationship. The issue isn't with Adam. He does his very best to try to mitigate the situation with his mom, but it's wearing on him, and I worry that one day he'll have to choose. I don't want him to have to do that. That would hurt him too much to choose between me and his family. There are a lot of situations, but I thought I would highlight the worst, most recent. About 3 years ago, 1 month after we purchased our house, his mom really needed windows in her house. Mold was growing a lot and some no longer had seals. Now, his mom actually has a sizable savings account, enough that she can spend her money frivolously on luxury goods like Birkin bags, and getting her hair done 2 times a week, her nails, buying a Mercedes every 2 years, and so on. However, she never budgets for anything. So, she asked him for $25,000 to replace the windows. He said he'd cover them. When he told me, I almost had a heart attack. He said it was a loan and that she'd pay him back. I still have law school debt to cover, and we have a larger than we should have mortgage. She made a comment to him about how I would let her freeze to death all winter and he had to help her. We took extra out on the mortgage to cover the windows, top of the line, everything. We still have yet to see a dime. I suppose it went into her new GL class. To quote the Bard, Neither a borrower nor a lender be. Adam and I had a vacation planned a year after the Windows dilemma happened. We decided that we'd go to Europe for 2 weeks as he has never been, and I lived there from the time I was 3 until I came to America for school. We set our hearts on Spain and rented a lovely apartment in Barcelona for the 2 weeks. It was perfect for two. We planned all of our tours and outings around our interests. Adam loves architecture, so we had a few tours solely planned for that. His mother decided that she had to come, and she'd never been to Europe either, so she invited herself on our trip. Like I did previously, I tried to appeal to his rational side, but I couldn't get through his emotional side, so I just accepted that she'd be coming along. Well, coach wasn't good enough for her, and she had to have tickets upgraded to business. But she didn't want to travel alone, so she pitched in for a seat for Adam to travel with her. I had to remain in coach alone. Then, she didn't want to stay at the apartment because it wasn't a vacation to her. No, she had to stay at the W in Barcelona, where she begged Adam to stay with her, but there wasn't any room for me. He tried to reason with her, but she cried and said how sad she was without her husband with her as he passed away before they could ever get to Europe together. He passed away 10 years ago. So, I stayed at the apartment alone while they stayed at the hotel. We were supposed to meet up for breakfast, but she would never get ready on time, so they wouldn't be down until 11 a.m., and we missed most of our outings. I definitely felt like a third wheel and questioned why I even bothered to go on the vacation when I could have stayed home and not felt so alone. Adam and I began to discuss wedding plans. I would like to keep it relatively low-key as my family still lives in Europe, and cannot attend as my father is very sick and we are worried he may take a turn for the worse. Traveling is just not worth it for him, and I wouldn't want him to risk his health for something that is a one-day event. I told Adam that I would like just a courtroom ceremony, and his mother and sister of course, and friends. We'd then take everyone out for a very fancy dinner. His mother did not, I repeat, not take kindly to this. She said that if her son was going to get married, it would have been a grand affair, for everyone to see. I just keep looking at my side of the seating chart, and the pitiful number of guests. I just want to cry. She has been planning it. I told Adam I didn't want this. I expressly told him that I just wanted a small, really small event. No go. She won't even hear him. She just refers to me as her, and she, and says how I think that I'm too good for a large wedding and that my family is too good for America. My family is American, my dad was an ambassador. First update. Wow. Whoa, bawa. I really did not expect this kind of attention considering I pretty much came to a conclusion, seems to be the general consensus among you that it's the right one, on my own. But the support you have given me, I'm overwhelmed and feel extremely grateful in a way I cannot express. Through PMs and comment posts, I cried while reading all of them. Some of you shared words of wisdom, some of you shared different perspectives, others shared similar experiences. I feel at a loss for words. Anyway, there isn't a very impactful update, but I figured I would update you on what has happened so far and take this opportunity to say thank you. Thank you. After I posted a comment on my own thread, and was about 2 glasses deep into a bottle of wine, Adam came home. This was extremely late. He sat down beside me and looked defeated. He just looked at me with hopeless eyes. I asked him if he wanted to talk about it. He said he needed time to process everything that happened tonight. I told him I also needed time. He said to me that whatever I wanted to do, he would accept it. So, I called up my maid of honor and asked if she would come pick me up and I could stay at her house for the night. Adam and I kissed, and he told me he loved me, and I left. I haven't been back. From Colleen's house, I made a call the next morning to my office asking for a few more days off to go visit my family. So, right now, I am writing to you from my parents' house in Europe. I called Adam and told him my plans, and he asked me if I would let him drive me. I told him I was okay to go myself with Colleen, and I would email him when I got to my family home. When I got settled at home, I emailed Adam, and I sent him the thread that I had made that Tuesday night. A large majority of you wanted him to read it. So, he has read all of your comments. He also read the part where I came to the conclusion on my own that I had to end things. We talked briefly over Skype. He told me he felt raw from the thread, but he was glad that I had gotten things out. He asked me if I was sure if I wanted to break things off or if I still needed time to think. I said I was pretty sure. He asked me for a probability. This is a joke in our relationship for dealing with decisions. And I said I was 90% sure that this was the end for us, and I was using my time away wisely to really consider everything. For some reason, his eyes brightened and he just told me that we could talk about it when I got back stateside. I wouldn't break up with him over Skype, And I think we have a lot of legalities to go through regarding the house, and we have to collect any deposits that are available when we cancel the wedding things, because his mom didn't pay for any of the wedding she planned. Anyway, I have had a sit down with my father. He's been feeling better, which is a huge relief. He has offered me 2/3 of the cost of the house. So I could either buy it from Adam and pay off most of the mortgage, or just walk away and buy myself something else. I didn't expect this, but he said it would give me options should I decide what he thinks I have decided. He says he just wants me to have freedom, and that he wouldn't want to see my heart and my bank account broken at the same time. So, that's that. Like I said, nothing really happened between Adam and I. I do have more power though, thanks to my parents, and I have been enjoying my time with my family. My mom and I have been shopping a lot, and my brother, my dad's doctor, and his family have been coming over for dinner quite a bit. My sister is expected to return from China tomorrow, and I am very excited to see her. I wish you all a happy holidays and a hopeful new year. Hopefully, my next update will have a conclusion, one way or another. Dr. Adam saw the original. Nothing has happened as of yet, but my parents gave me money to get myself out of the housing situation if need be. Second update. Hi. I first would like to apologize for how long this update took. I've been completely swamped at work, and things have been happening at home too. So let's get into that. I want to thank everyone again for their continued support and interest in my relationship issues. Sincerely, the advice and shared experiences has made everything a lot clearer. Also, Adam has been following along. Firstly, I specifically want to thank everyone who defended and supported Adam. I don't see him as a bad guy, and I really wouldn't be vindictive. So, passive-aggressive comments while leaving, or making rude comments to him, or anything really mean-hearted, I couldn't do to him. He has supported me emotionally through getting my MBA, he helped me study for my LSATs, he read over my essays to apply to law schools, he did mock interviews with me, he sat through boring orientations with me, he stayed up all night with me when I was sick with nerves before taking the bar. He was my cheerleader when I ran my first triathlon, and he is my champion when I see a house centipede. He is my dream man. And I would never give up my relationship with him if I didn't feel like I was fighting a losing battle. Now, are you guys in for a real shocker? Someone made a comment in the update that he would be outside my parents' house if he really wanted it to work. He took your advice to heart, and he was outside with his bags and a rental on the evening of the 24th. I was taken aback, and I blurted out, "What the fuck are you doing here?" He just laughed and said he wanted to talk about everything and it couldn't wait until I got back. He'd been reading all the comments on the threads, and he felt like they were very eye-opening. He browsed R raised by narcissists and felt very moved by the similarity some of the posters have with their parents. He said that he spent the last few days thinking about what went down at the restaurant with his mother, and how the look in my eyes when I looked at him after I realized what had happened broke his heart. What I didn't know was that he and his mother got into a row after I went to sit at the bar, fighting about me, and how he doesn't feel free, how his sister used to say she had the same problems, but since she moved far away, it has died down a lot. A lot of people asked me why I put up with this for so long. I tried to remember when this really started happening, when it stopped appearing like regular mother-in-law, don't want to lose my son comments and began to feel like isolation and vehemence. We used to have an okay relationship when we first met. Sometimes we'd go shopping together, and once we got our nails done. It was around when Adam and I purchased the house together, that's when it really started to get bad. The windows incident was the first really big issue I remember. When she realized we were serious about each other. So, back to when we were at my parents' house, we had a serious heart-to-heart. I bared everything to him, and he did the same. So, there was no extreme confession of incest, or physical abuse. It was just that he thinks he was raised by a narcissist who saw her control of her son, he pride and joy, slipping away. We came to a decision. Here is what we decided on December 27. He went back to the US after New Year's Day, a couple of days before me, and moved his stuff out of our place to a friend's. He didn't want me to have to be inconvenienced for changes he had to make. We have put our engagement on hold for the time being. He canceled all the plans his mother made. He has been seeing a therapist since the middle of January pretty consistently, 2 to 3 times a week. I've been to 4 sessions with him, his mother has not. We have sort of begun dating each other again. I have been talking to his sister, and the things their mother put her through, Adam is very lucky. Now, about his mother. He has decided to give her one last chance to go to therapy with him, and he has stated that if she does not, he will be going no contact with her. We have a lot to rebuild, but I know we can do it together. Tell.dr. Thank you everyone for the continued support interest advice. Got a complaint about my TLDR? Adam and I were able to work out a plan for our relationship, put our engagement on hold, see a therapist, and set clear boundaries, wanted no contact with his mother. Relevant comments. I still don't understand how the moment of realization for him wasn't the trip to Spain. He planned a romantic trip for the two of you that turned into him hanging out with his mother and leaving you completely alone. I would feel absolutely horrendous leaving my SO and coach while I'm hanging out in first class with my mother who can't afford to pay for her own goddamn windows. She shoves you out of her plans and then has the balls to shove you out of your own. How did he not see how fucked up that was? Oop. We've gone over that trip a lot in therapy. His therapist explained to me that it's akin to someone being stuck in an abusive relationship and always making excuses for the abuser so often that they believe their own rationalizations. He felt a lot of guilt for his father's death. Adam donated a kidney, and his father's body rejected the donation. He feels like it's his fault that his mother is alone, and I think she preyed on that a lot. It probably should have been my moment of clarity, but it wasn't. We've recently decided together to put it in the past and move forward. You didn't say what everyone is wanting to know. What has been his mother's reaction to all of this? Because it must have been like lighting dynamite. Oop. Ah. Well, right now, she is on a month-long cruise, that's why he has to wait. However, Adam did ignore all of her calls while he was in Europe with me. When he got back, she did a lot of guilt tripping. Oh, my poor heart, making me worry like that, running off after her like some whimpering puppy. Just stuff to unman him and make him feel like less than he is. Then she tried to overdose on painkillers. She called the ambulance before she took any, and they got there before she even managed to get 3 pills down. Really great response time. So, they placed her on a 72-hour watch. Adam only sent flowers, he did not really want to see her. But she decided a cruise and a small vacation might be best for her, to get away. Final update. It has been a long time, we're all a year older. Adam and I will be composing this thread together. Oh no, I gave away the ending. Yes, we are together, in fact, we're married. Here goes. Last time we left off, Adam was seeing a shrink, still is, to try to unwind some of the damage his mother did. We were living separately for the time being. Adam's mother tried to commit suicide, but no really. She called emergency services before she tried and didn't even have time to swallow more than 2 pills. It's so scary to think that within his mind there was such an abusive past when he has always had such a happy exterior. My husband, man that's fun to say, was basically traumatized by his own mother his entire life. As was his sister. I had alluded before in one previous thread that Adam's sister had it a lot worse than Adam when they were younger, but when Adam's father died, his mom locked in on him. So, Adam's dad died of kidney failure. However, Adam had donated one of his kidneys to try to save him. His father's body rejected the donation, and passed away about 11 years ago this coming April. His mother took it upon herself during his grieving process to manipulate him into believing he killed his own father and she was alone now because of him. That if he wanted to repair what he did to her, he'd treat her better. Every time he thought that he could get away and create his own life and feel free, she'd remind him. The windows, for example, I only heard the part where she blamed me. But I tried to think back to the conversation, and really try to hear what Adam had said. It's about 4 years ago now, but he was telling me at that moment that the reason her house was falling down was because she no longer had a man to take care of it. Because he killed his dad. He was trying to tell me, I just wasn't able to understand what it meant. Same with the vacation to Barcelona, she was doing it in front of me now. When he was younger, a lot of these issues had been regarding academic success or athletic success. She didn't have any issue then with girlfriends or anything. She just viewed her children as extensions of herself. It was bad, it just wasn't this level of guilt-inducing insanity. Let's get back to the present day. Adam's psychologist had suggested Adam offer his mother a chance to come to therapy to work out issues. He wasn't able to propose this to her at the time because after her suicide attempt, she whisked herself away on a cruise to get some much-needed R&R, whatever. Oh. My God. You'd think he was asking her to murder puppies with the way she went on. So, that's that. No contact. She has tried, but Adam has either ignored all phone calls with unknown numbers, we had our locks changed, and his work has strict instructions not to let her pass the doors. She moved to where Adam's sister lives in July, but I know that his sister, we are close, has been no contact with her since she met her husband. We wrote off the $25,000, we either get it back in probate court, in inheritance, or not at all. I'm not really choked up about it, not enough to do any extra work to get it back right now, especially since Adam is worried she'll use it as leverage to buy back in. We ended up getting married in September, flew out to be with my parents this week to renew our vows in their house, and we're going to have our honeymoon in Fiji come January. My dad isn't doing so well, but he always seems to fluctuate like that. However, my brother isn't optimistic this time. Anyway, we were wondering, since you have all been so supportive, if you would do us one small favor. Adam and I are going to have a grieving ceremony for his father, so he can process it correctly without manipulation. For any of you who have lost parents, what helped you get through it? Thank you for everything. We wished we could have invited each and every one of you to our wedding, but that would be creepy. TLDR. Adam has gone no contact with his mother. We got married, going to Fiji for our honeymoon. Adam and I are going to re-grieve his father's death. Any tips for how to get through grief of a passing parent would be much appreciated. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest ones. Have a great day.